Hi, my name is Adnan Hasbi and I would like to welcome you to Funny Finance Guy. In today's episode, we will talk further about stock picking. Over here, I will show you the step-by-steps on how I pick a stock from looking at trends or the products I use. So to do a quick recap, about 3 or 4 months ago, I made a couple of episodes on how I stock pick. Over here, I discussed about how we can pick stocks based on the products we use and also based on the trends that we are seeing in the market. So to recap, I told a little story about us having breakfast whereby we have a cup of Milo, and when we travel to work, we may take an MRT or also a car, and after we park our car, on the way to our office, we may pass by a Starbucks. So over here, based on this small story, I've identified a couple of stocks where we can invest in. Aside from that, I've noticed another trend. While many of us are locked in our house, there was an increase in demand for digital content. So one of the top places where we consume digital content would be YouTube. So over here is the companies I covered in the previous few episodes, whereby we can see the manufacturer of Milo. After the dip, their stock price remained relatively flat. I think one of the reasons for that is there is no upward catalyst for this particular stock, so the stock price remained the same. While when we look at the car manufacturers or the manufacturers for Produa, one of them would be MBM Resources. After the whole lockdown, we see a dip in its stock price, which eventually saw a little upward movement in the stock price with the government giving incentives for car buyers, and eventually it was relatively flat. While during this period, as many of us are locked in, me especially, me including, a lot of us started consuming more and more content via YouTube. So over here, I've highlighted the owner for YouTube, which is Google. And we can see the stock price move up to a year-to-date high of 16.55. So right now, let me walk through the whole process of how I find a particular stock and eventually invest in that particular company. So during this long vacation, this long Merdeka vacation, I have this particular habit of having a teh tarik session on a Saturday or a Sunday. But having said that, however, with the whole lockdown, it was relatively difficult. So during this time, I needed to find a way to have my roti canai and also my teh tarik fix. And this is where I started buying frozen roti prata. And one of the manufacturers for this is Kawan Food Berhad. So based on this small little example, what I did was I wanted to find out who was the manufacturer for this particular product and whether I can invest in this particular company. So step number 1 is first we look at the product we're currently using, and clicking on it, we can see this company by the name of Kawan Food. The second step after finding the name of the company is going on Bursa Market Place. Over here, we can see this particular search bar and we can click on that particular search bar. And after typing that, we can see that on Bursa Marketplace, there is Kawan Food Berhad. And over here, we have the analyst consensus. This is where other analysts cover that particular stock and they give their opinion on that stock. So to break down what this means is, number 1, we can see this particular item which says consensus target price. And what this basically means is the target price the analyst expects the stocks to be. The second item is a difference. This is the difference between the analyst target price and the market price. So the market price is trading at 240 while the analyst target price is 240. So there is no difference at all. Finally, we can see this item which says outperform. This basically means that the analyst is relatively bullish on this particular stock. So let's move down and let's look at Kawan Foods on a 1-year basis. And over here, we can see that Kawan Food has been relatively flat and it dropped during the whole MCO. Having said that, however, during this whole period, people like me, I started trying to figure out ways to consume or get my teh tarik and also my roti canai fix, and I started consuming frozen roti canai. It's not the same, however, frozen is just as good as going to the mama. Again, what I like to stress over here is this is what I perceive happened. I have not done an in-depth research on this particular stock. So let's look at the stock price, and we can see that the stock price from 84 cents, it went up to 270. So that is more than a 300% return on your portfolio. All right, guys. So based on the step-by-step process which I showed you guys, I hope you guys are a bit more comfortable with regards to your stock picking process. Having said that, however, you know that I'm more than happy to discuss anything on this particular channel. Should you have any questions, please do ask me. With that, I will wish you the very best of luck in your investments, and hope to see you in the next episode.